This blood work sucks. Coach Greg is going to die. Does lowering it to 60 and 100 milligrams, does that make my blood work healthier? Will I live longer? Should I keep my doses this low, or should I go back to 140 or even more? Coach Greg, in today's video, we're going over my blood work, which of course was taken at AlgoRx. And so the first thing you're all wanting to see, I'm certain, is my testosterone levels. What exactly are they going to be? My testosterone levels, 631, with free testosterone being at 58. Now, as you know, in the past, I was doing 140 milligrams of testosterone each and every week, and my testosterone levels were typically in the 700s. They were in the 800s. But as you know, I decided to lower my doses. The doctors had suggested that I stop HRT altogether. As you remember, I had had a hair transplant. I said to the doctors, I'd rather have no hair than no testosterone. And so I chose to continue to do testosterone, but at a lower level. And so I used about 60 milligrams of testosterone a week for approximately 4 to 5 weeks, and then upped it to about 100 milligrams of testosterone a week. 2 days prior to this test, I injected 60 milligrams, and so this would be kicking in full force. And so you can believe me or not believe me and say, no, you're blasting way more gear than you're admitting to. You're taking tren. You're actually on 500 milligrams. I believe this is perhaps the 5th time I've shown my blood work. And so if you don't believe me, that's okay if you sleep better at night, but I'm just trying to be open, honest, and transparent about exactly what I'm taking. Because of that lowered dose of testosterone, will that allow my blood work to be even healthier? I mean, after all, I was doing 140 milligrams a week. And so does lowering it to 60 and 100 milligrams, does that make my blood work healthier? Will I live longer? Should I keep my doses this low, or should I go back to 140 or even more? And so if you examine my DHT, this is at 28. And so by lowering the DHT, it's going to decrease the shedding as well as regrow hair faster than last time. And so this is actually good. Now, you can, of course, get medications from AlgoRx if you're interested in lowering your DHT, for example, dutasteride. I caution you, if you do take dutasteride, if I were you, I would take the lowest dose possible, perhaps 0.5 milligrams every 4 or 5 days rather than taking each and every day, because you don't want to experience post-finasteride syndrome, which would be a decreased sensation in where you want to feel things the most. I'm talking about in a good way. You don't want to have problems with your downstairs, and so please be careful. What you should be trying to do is to increase your SHBG. And how do you do that? Well, if you're overweight, try losing some weight. That is a no-brainer. Check your thyroid. If there's a problem with that, you can get that function to go back up. That will increase your SHBG. And also, of course, if you're abusing performance-enhancing drugs, taking high doses of testosterone even, you can actually lower those doses. That is going to increase SHBG. Or you can take topical aldactone, very effective. You can put it on your hair, for example. It's a topical androgen antagonist. It will not go systemic, and so that I would recommend. Now this, guys, we're working on a product. It's called Ferula. You can see we've already made it. We have people taking this, including myself, to see exactly what it can do, and so far, it's looking very, very promising. We had one athlete double their testosterone levels. It, at this point, is increasing SHBG. It's very useful to many athletes, including those using performance-enhancing drugs. If it's combined with DHEA, it can be even more potent. And so keep your eyes on this in the near future. And of course, with all our products, I welcome people to say, oh, you're selling snake oil. Well, of course, there's going to be a money-back guarantee. If it doesn't boost your testosterone to higher than myself on HRT, then how is that bad? And so if you want to get your testosterone higher than ever before, keep your eyes out for this. It's about to go down. So if we examine inside, you can see beautiful. And so this is Ferula Hormonal. It comes from Lebanon, and no one in the world So Coach Greg and HTLT Supplements has access to this. You guys have seen me backpacking throughout the world, smuggling in the tea plug. And so the tea plug was able to procure this rare wild root. You can't even make this shit. I can't make this shit up. It's been around for many years. The studies showing that it doubles testosterone levels from way back in 2007, but no one could get access to this until now. Are you ready? And so feel free to Google the plant, Ferula hormonis. Go and send it to Derek and all those other owners of supplement companies and dare them to try and get it. The real Ferula. I dare them. They're not going to be able to do it. You know, I have connections all over the world. You guys do not understand the level of the tea plug. It's going deep in 2026. Just ask Mepstagram.
Yeah, boy.
Next, IGF-1. You know, this is something that all bodybuilders, they want through the roof. I'm at 111. 111. The reference range is 50 to 317. My Z score at 0.5, it's negative. It means I'm a half a standard deviation below the mean. But Greg, didn't you just say that bodybuilders want IGF-1 levels through the roof to build more muscle? Yes. Am I a bodybuilder? Well, you might see me as one because I do go to the gym every 4 days to lift weights, full body workout. And I used to be a professional bodybuilder competing, and I wanted the biggest muscles, bigger muscles than last time. But now I'm 50, racing bikes, and I want to live to be 90. That's the goal. 90 years old, perhaps even 100. I did abuse steroids, so 100 is probably a little too lofty. Although I have great genetics from my grandparents who lived to be, for example, 99 and so on. And so I'm hoping to live longer than last time. Now, the higher your IGF-1s when you age, I feel, at least I think this, you can debate me if you like, I think the higher the levels, the less likely you're going to live a long life. And so by having lower IGF-1 levels, although it's not going to build as much muscle, I think it allows me the chance to live longer. And so I'm all about living a long and healthy life. And so I'm not actually trying to increase my IGF-1 levels. I'm not taking growth hormone. I'm not taking IGF-1. I'm not taking growth hormone releasing substances of any kind. I'm not on CJC 1295. Although I could take these things to perhaps build more muscle, it's not worth it. To me. To you, perhaps it is. Perhaps you're young, you're competing. I get it. Trust me, I took all those things. But now I regret it as I'm older. But you know what I don't regret taking? Turk Builder Max and Turk Platinum. It's not going to boost your IGF-1 levels, but it's going to help you to build more muscle, have more energy, to feel better, to tack the weights. And if you don't experience all the same benefits that I do, remember, there's a money-back guarantee and a $50 gift card. Out of the hundreds of thousands of people that are buying this, there's 30 people that ask for money back. 30, not 30,000, 30. And so the chances are very high you're going to buy this, you're going to like it, and you're going to keep rebuying it. Code Greg, 15% off. White blood cell count, while we're here, we see it's at 3.5. It's in the blue out of the range. It's close to the 3.8. The reason it doesn't matter, it's the absolute counts that actually matter. You can see below absolute neutrophils, absolute lymphocytes, absolute monocytes. If you add up all of those, it's fine. And so it is not a concern. It was absolutely okay. And remember, these blood works were taken while I was racing bikes in Miami. Did you know I went for 2 weeks racing bikes, riding with various teams? I was riding on the Rickenbacker Causeway at 6 a.m. every day, but 2 on those days I was lifting weights, as you know. Of course, it was also raining. And so I was trying to become more fit than last time, training harder than ever before while using HTLT supplements, the most important of which for cardio is GO2 max. Guys, have you been trying this? My elite racing team, which we have, you can look him up, Farm Watts. He's a professional bike rider in esports. He produces over 500 watts for 20 minutes. This is insane. This, as well as G Platinum, he's using every single day. He swears by it. it. And so if you're interested in the stacks that even elite level cardio athletes as well as bodybuilders are using, click the link, code Greg, 15% off. And so cortisol, it's in blue. Does that mean I'm having a panic attack? 22.2, the reference range 4 to 22. And so I'm slightly over the top. And so I had a huge cortisol spike in the morning. And so for me, this is good. You wake up, it gets you going, it gets you out of bed. I'm not the kind of person that wakes up and drags their ass out of bed. When I wake up, I am up. You can next see FSH and LH. They're very, very low. Guys, I'm on HRT. This is how, when you look at somebody's blood work, you can look at it and be like, yeah, I know you're not natty. If you see FSH and LH like this, they're not natural. It doesn't matter what they try to tell you. It doesn't matter if they say, oh, but I'm a black natural athlete. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
SHBG, it's at 48. The reference range is 10 to 50, and I'm at 48. And so obviously it's from taking that. Guys, this is not a medication, but it has profound effects. You're thinking, yeah, but it's just a herb. Just because it's just a plant, it's just a herb, doesn't mean it can't have profound effects on the human body. If it can increase testosterone levels, similar to, for example, something like enclomiphene, clearly it has great potential. Enclomiphene also increases SHBG in anyone who's taking it. And so what this does is it activates certain estrogen receptors in some areas of the body and deactivates others in other areas of the body. It's known as a selective estrogen receptor modulator. And the worst part of the blood work, here it is, until now, I mean, who really cares? Lipoprotein A, 155. Now, the problem is this is mostly genetic. It's not something that you can just lower by doing cardio, which I'm doing, or lifting weights, which I'm doing, or eating healthy, which I'm doing, or going to bed on time, which I'm doing, having plenty of fiber, which I'm doing, or having enough fat in my diet, which I'm doing. And so I'm doing everything I can actually do, but yet it's still high. And so I thought, well, maybe it's the HRT, maybe testosterone is doing this, but the research shows that lower doses of HRT, it actually benefits the lipoprotein A. And so that is not something that's affecting me. And on my lower doses of testosterone or higher, I've done blood work where I'm on no HRT. I've done some where I'm on it. No effect. And so I could, for example, take niacin. That would lower it perhaps by around 25%. Dose would be 500 to 1,000. It's not a fun supplement to take. We used to take niacin back in my day when I was competing in the 90s, for example, and you would flush your skin, and the goal was to have a redder skinned appearance and more vascularity. But it caused a lot of negative side effects. The itching went crazy. Some people would get beet red. This is the early days of bodybuilding experimenting, and so I would certainly think people would benefit a lot more from taking, for example, Cialis before getting up on stage than taking niacin. One more thing before you go, I'm seeing AST. It's a little bit high. It's 38. We have ALT in range, and so ALT, remember the L in the middle? It stands for, well, it doesn't really stand for that, but remember it like this: ALT, liver, AST, liver and muscle. And remember, I was racing bikes. I was going 2 and 3 hours often, almost every single day. So the muscle damage, it goes crazy. And so if you're doing a lot of hard activity, perhaps you're training to failure, you're going to zone 4, you're going to level 4 like Mr. Mike, you're training hard on the bike, this is very easy to be seen. And so it doesn't mean that you're, for example, blasting SARMs or oral steroids. Somebody might expect that to be the case. If that was the case, my ALT would also be elevated. And so this is just kind of a normal result from training very, very hard. Next, hemoglobin A1C, 5.5. You might be thinking, well, Coach Greg, you're pre-diabetic. You're close to that. You have a problem. But the thing is, I'm a high-level, high-performing athlete doing hours and hours of cardio, sometimes each and every day. In these individuals, we often see higher hemoglobin A1C levels. And so for me, this is normal. And so the thing with these tests is, they only are as good as the person interpreting it. And so what you really need to see is the HOMA-IR score, which is essentially a test to see how good is your insulin working. I mean, if you have a lot of insulin, but it's doing its job, or if you don't have a lot of insulin, but it's not doing its job, it makes a very big difference. And so for me, it's healthy. Now, if you're an expert on reading blood work and you just look and you say, ChatGPT, look at this. Maybe you're going to say the 5.5 that it is a lot. It's too high. But for me, having a cortisol spike that was this strong in the morning, the fact that I'm racing bikes, the fact that I'm a high-level athlete at sub 10% body fat, this is not the blood work of somebody who's normal, and it's not something which you should be alarmed. And so trust me, if I was alarmed, I would have this blood work sucks. Coach Greg is going to die, gets more views, but unfortunately, I'm not worried. This is not a problem. I don't need to do anything. And so here are my plans. I'm going back to my old doses of 140 milligrams of test a week. I'm going to see how that makes me feel. The blood work indicates I can take more. You can see the effects of lowering testosterone on lowering my testosterone levels, which of course you would be expecting. And I'm healthy. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing, aside from having a cold right now, which perhaps you can tell by my voice. But yet I'm still going to go and ride. I'm still training. I'm still doing my thing. I'm still going to the gym twice every 8 days. And so hopefully you learned something. If you're interested in HLT supplements, if you're interested to go to AlgoRx, get your own blood work done, those doctors can read everything as well as to tell you what you could or couldn't be taking. If you're interested in being coached or sponsored or have my supplements in your store and or gym, click the link. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algo for AlgoRx. Go and watch one of those 2 bloops. And until next time, I am out.